I would even wonder if you actually bought Concord, could you search and find a server to play on? Or are you searching and you can't even find anyone to play with, right? What's hilarious, they thought this was going to be so big, okay? They actually have a PlayStation 5 DualSense controller that's Concord branded. And they were selling it for $80 and no one bought it. It's completely fully stocked everywhere. They mass produced it and no one's bought any of them. So you probably expect those to be bargain basement prices in just a couple months. They were so gung-ho that this game was going to do well. There is a TV show coming out later this year called Secret Level, and it's on Amazon Video. And it's going to be an anthology series against video games, or about video games. It's going to have Mega Man and God of War in it. And there's going to be an episode on Concord. So you know what that means. Sony paid a lot of money to say, hey, this is our new IP, which we're pushing, and everyone's going to love it. We're going to make a ton of money on it. We need an episode of your show to be about it. So let's pay a bunch of money to get in there, right? By the time, seriously, by the time that this game, well, by the time that show comes out, this game won't exist. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? This game already doesn't exist. Because this morning, Sony pulled the plug on Concord completely. 100%. It's gone. It's shit canned. It's done. Okay? So let's take a look at Concord on the PlayStation blog as of this morning. Okay? From Ryan Ellis, game director of Firewalk Studios. Concord fans, well, already I don't know who he's talking to. There are no Concord fans. Like, people bought it ironically to see how it would play and review it. No one actually is a fan of Concord. So already the first words of the blog post are addressed to no one. I don't, right? Okay, Concord fans, we've been listening closely to your feedback since the launch of Concord on PlayStation 5 and PC. We want to thank everyone who has joined the journey aboard the North Star. Your support and the passionate community that has grown around the game has meant the world to us. This guy is living in an alternate world dimension or something, or he's really high this morning. There is absolutely no passionate community, and there is no support for the game. Hence, that's why it has record low people on Steam playing it, and why everyone is making fun of it. But of course, he has to basically like toot his own horn and fluff himself here to make him feel like all the work he did on this game was worth it, when in reality, it was a complete waste of everyone's fucking time. However, while many qualities of the experience resonated with players, no, they did not. That's a complete falsified statement. None of the qualities resonated with players. That's why no one played it. We also recognize the other aspects of the game, and our initial launch didn't land the way we'd intended. When you say other aspects, I mean, I think he's referencing the entirety of the game. Like, people just don't like the entirety of the game, not certain aspects. The whole game is the problem. No one likes it. And the initial launch didn't land the way we intended. Now, that I would say is the first factual statement that he said in this post, because Sony seems like they really thought it was going to be like a huge win. They spent all this time and money developing it. They branded a controller. There's an episode of Secret Level about it. They thought this thing was going to be a hit. And it has been the biggest flop Sony's probably ever put out, honestly. Therefore, at this time, we've decided to take the game offline beginning September 6, 2024, and explore options, including those that will better reach our players. While we determine the best path ahead, Concord sales will cease immediately, and we will begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased the game for PS5 or PC. If you purchased the game for PlayStation 5 from the PlayStation Store or PlayStation Direct, a refund will be issued back to your account original payment method. So here's the thing. Like, some people are like, wow, that's really good of Sony to issue refunds. You do realize that only 300, 400 people bought it on PC, and probably like less than that bought it on PS5. So this is like pennies to Sony. It's not a big deal to have to issue that kind of refund. It would be a different thing if this were like a Cyberpunk 2077 situation and millions of people had bought the game and wanted refunds. So this is like a pittance to them, not a big deal at all. But man, so what was that, a week? 2 weeks? I think it was 2 weeks the game's been out now. I think maybe a week, 2 weeks, and it's done already. Is that officially the fastest? Is that officially the fastest that it's ever been? I'm trying to think if there was ever another game that was shit canned that fast. Nothing's coming to mind, you know? So it might literally be the biggest flop in video game history. But, I mean, E.T. was bad, but it's not like they stopped selling the game. It's just that the game wouldn't sell, right? So then they buried all the copies in the Nevada desert. But in this case, they're not even going to sell it anymore. They're actually pulling the game. If you want to know the truth, I think what it is, they put all this money into supporting the game, but now no one's playing it. So they're like, why are we going to keep investing the money? We were expecting so many players, it was going to pay for itself. But there's no one playing it. Therefore, the cost, the incredible cost to just have servers and shit running, it doesn't even justify the cost to keep it going, you know? It's kind of like you open a business, a brick and mortar business, right? So you have upkeep costs like electricity and utilities to keep the building running. But if no one's coming in the building, just close the business, then you can shut down the utilities. It's kind of the same thing. Like, they're just like, fuck this. There's not enough people to even justify us running the servers. We're just going to turn the whole thing off. Okay? Customers who purchase from other digital storefronts will also be refunded. More information below. Steam Store refunds players who bought the game over the coming days. They'll send confirmation. Epic Game Store will refund players who bought the game over the coming days and will contact each customer directly. Other retailer refunds. For customers who have purchased a physical copy at a retailer location outside of PlayStation, refer to the refund process of the retailer. So you're fucked. Because if you're not aware, brick and mortar retailers do not allow you to refund or return a game physically once you've opened it. All you can do is exchange it for the same game, or you can trade it in for an insanely decreased value. So, for example, let's say you bought this game at GameStop for $40. I think that was the price tag, $39.99. If you bring it back to GameStop, they're going to be like, we're not taking that back as a return. It's not allowed. We'll let you trade it in for $10. So you put $40 and you get $10 back. So I hate to say it, folks, but we've talked about this recently. People who are demanding a physical copy are starting to get hosed, and I can see this happening more and more. We're going to have to stop with this. The whole physical copy thing, I just don't think it's worth it at this point. I mean, it's nice to have on your shelf and shit, but now people are literally getting screwed. If you bought the game physically, you're not getting your money back. $40, and there's no game to play as of 3 days. They're closing the game on Friday. So you spent $40 to play a game with 300 people online for 2 weeks, and now you're out $40. That's not fair, right? And I know a lot of people disagree with me on the point, but at some point people are going to have to realize that the whole physical copy thing is over. Everything is going digital. Even I don't like it because I like physically owning something and knowing it's mine, not that someone can flip a switch and turn off your license access to something. But this is the way everything's gone. Movies, television, music, and video games are all digital, and we have to start accepting this. If you bought it digitally, you will get your money back. Once refunded, players will no longer have access to the game. It won't matter because the game's shutting down on Friday anyway, so I don't even know why they even said that. We'll keep you updated, and thank you to all the free gunners who have joined us in the Concord Galaxy. We'll keep you updated about what? Your game is done. Your game is over. What are you going to update us on next? Will he be posting up about what he had for breakfast tomorrow or something? Like, Ryan, no one cares. Your game is shit can. So we don't need another update. You might as well, if this was the last thing ever posted on the internet about Concord, it would be fine. No one would give a shit. Okay? So anyway, what are my thoughts? Well, we already talked about it earlier in the week, but I'll just reiterate. Okay? Today, it seems like when people start making video games, the first thought is, how do we print money? All right? It used to be, how do we make something fun and artistic that people will enjoy? It'll be a part of culture and their life forever. And once it's established as something good, then we make money on it. Rather than, oh, we just got to make something that will print money, right? That's the problem. The soul of artistic creation has been lost to people sitting in a boardroom plotting how to make money like Mr. Burns. Like, I'm serious. They're all like fucking Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. How do we screw everyone and make money? And then, hey, if it's a good game or whatever, they don't even care. They really don't care if they're making good games or not. And that's pathetic. That's the opposite philosophy of how to succeed in an artistic space. All right? They're not pumping out a car or a new knife to cut vegetables with. They're pumping out an artistic work that needs to resonate with an audience. And if it doesn't, it will never make the money that they seek. But they're too dumb to understand that. We now have these corporate bigwigs literally rubbing their hands together, and this is the state of gaming. Concord is a soulless piece of creation. The game is blatantly ripped off of other people's ideas, whether it's the Guardians of the Galaxy characters and actions, whether it's the gameplay that's stolen from Overwatch, whether it's the modern, you know, how do I even say, political overtones that the game definitely has by pushing certain agendas. Everything about the game is false from what people would ask for in a video game in 2024. That's why it failed. It's not because, oh, those right-wingers came after us, man, and all that negativity online, it ruined our game. No, your game sucked. Your game sucked anyway. It doesn't matter that the right-wingers didn't like your agenda that you put in the game. Your game still sucked. That's why no one's talking about it. That's why no one bought it, and that's why it's already canceled. Make a good game, profit. Make a bad game, become the laughingstock of the modern age.